So they're going to be out $110 million. And then after that, they still have to find ways to fully fund the police in Houston the way they are today. Otherwise, they're going to be in violation of another law in the state of Texas.
They just froze $110 million, and the reason goes directly back to the immigration policy in Houston, Texas. This is one of these find out moments.
Wanted to just go off a little bit here. I wanted to ask about the city of Houston's immigration ordinance. How do you justify pulling $110 million in public safety funding from Houston if the goal with immigration enforcement is to improve safety? Doesn't that contradict itself?
So let's be clear about a couple of things. One is, listen, if the city council was serious about public safety, they would not allow illegal immigrants to roam their streets and kill people like Jocelyn Nungery. There are other people like that in Houston who've been raped, assaulted, and victimized by people who are here illegally and allowed to roam the streets. Second, and importantly, the city of Houston signed an agreement to get money from the state of Texas that required Houston to comply with the Department of Homeland Security programs about detaining illegal immigrants. After already getting $110 million from the state under that agreement, Houston is now trying to renege on their obligations. The contract clearly said that the failure to comply will require Houston to return all of the money that it got from the state of Texas, which amounts to approximately $110 million. Importantly, the requirement to return the money does not mean defunding the police. I signed a law to prevent cities from defunding the police. Under that law, Houston will have to find the funds elsewhere to fully fund the police. The law that I signed specifically says that grants do not count toward a city's funding of the police and does not eliminate their need to come up with the money to fully fund the police.
Super intelligent here. What you're forcing them to do is to now raise the taxes on the local people. All right. And so then when they start asking, why are the taxes going up? It's because your local government is attempting to turn Houston into a full-blown sanctuary city.
Eliminate their need to come up with the money to fully fund the police. So they're going to be out $110 million. And then after that, they still have to find ways to fully fund the police in Houston the way they are today. Otherwise, they're going to be in violation of another law in the state of Texas.
And tomorrow, the city council is meeting to possibly repeal it. What's your message to those council members who say they're not changing their stance?
The city of Houston right now is in breach of contract that's going to require the city of Houston to immediately provide $110 million to the state of Texas.
Immediately.
And by the way, it's not as if they're going to say, well, we may or may not get around to writing a check. Know this. The way the law works, the city of Houston gets a rebate of all the sales taxes collected in the city of Houston on a monthly basis from the comptroller. What happens by law, the comptroller will withhold the sales tax revenue that otherwise would go to the city of Houston and will be retained by the state of Texas until the state of Texas is fully paid the $110 million that is owed by Houston to the state.
Oh,
but
that's
at that time,
diabolical.
the city of Houston will still be obligated to come up with the additional funds to
Right.
fully fund their police. So the expectation tomorrow is this. Even though they are in breach of contract, we have not yet taken the action to enforce that breach. We've given the opportunity to what's called cure that breach. Tomorrow is their opportunity to cure that breach. Failing to do so will lead to extraordinarily difficult financial choices that are purposefully made by the City Council of Houston.
Guys, if you don't remember or recall what happened about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, when Greg Abbott specifically decided that it was going to be a great idea. Like, listen, if you guys are going to go ahead and house all these sanctuary cities around the United States of America, no problem. Since you're fine with it, but you're really far from the border, so it doesn't affect you. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put the border in your city. All right. That's who this man is. Stop playing with this man in terms of this here. He's a governor of a border state that is suffering through an absolute crisis at the border here. Not so much anymore here. Understand this here. We're working on that here. But for those of you who are in other states here and you're completely fine with the idea of open borders when you are not even near a border, we got you. So the fact that this is happening kind of in his state here, this was never going to work. He's going to come for you, bro. Like, you're even closer to him.
Houston police have officially confirmed they will follow the city's updated immigration policy. This is a key step and decision after days of back and forth between city leaders and the state.
Yeah, now that dispute led to more than $100 million in public safety money being put on hold. KHOU 11's Jalissa Garza is live outside of HPD headquarters this morning. Jalissa, now that the police have agreed, what does this policy actually say?
Hey, Alona, good morning. Well, this is the policy right here. And what it does, it really lays out step by step what officers can and can't do during a stop, and including when they can contact ICE. Now, one of the biggest clarifications here, officers are not required to wait for ICE, which had been a point of confusion earlier in this debate. Now, the policy also reinforces any detention has to follow the Fourth Amendment, meaning officers can only hold someone as long as reasonably necessary to complete that stop. Now, KHOU 11 spoke with the police union, which says this directive helps clarify how officers handle these situations and takes the politics out of it.
This clarifies that we do this for everybody, including customs enforcement. So it takes the politics out of it and allows us just to do our job. Again, we've been doing it this way forever.
Okay.
But not everyone agrees with that. The ACLU of Texas says this policy could still lead to people being detained unconstitutionally, arguing it violates protections against illegal searches and seizures.
Okay, so pretty much based off of all of this here, okay, it seems like they're trying to do something, but not really. Okay, but hold on here. This right here throws me off a little bit. I don't know why we need to know that a guy named Nick Hudson is a he, him. I don't know, but whatever. I guess Houston's going to be Houston. The ACLU is always going to kind of, for the most part, have problems with nearly anything the federal government does here. Be fully aware here. The ACLU has a place, but when it's being ran by people who inherently have a deep-seated bias, let's just say this here, does it really matter what the organization is doing in 2026? I don't know. Same reason why, obviously, Kash Patel has, been going on a rampage, let's say this year, removing people from the federal government that are absolutely advocates first and federal employees last, if that makes any sense here, guys. Okay, so, but long story short here, guys, it does seem like Houston is attempting to do something because, yes, the system that was basically set up here to punish them if they were to kind of go against the grain here is so hardcore, guys. All right. Yeah, they're going to have to do something, either that or they're going to have to raise taxes even more than they are in Houston. Understand that. And the last thing they really want to do is that here, because why? People start leaving. Okay. When you start raising taxes to an extent that is absolutely astronomical here, they're going to leave. But of course, there are people inside of the city of Houston who are not going to be very happy that this is even happening in the first place, because again, they want open borders, even though they're experiencing open borders here. But if there is any more, we will definitely continue the story here, guys. All right. In the meantime, you guys all have an absolutely amazing day. Enjoy your day thoroughly.